180 and when we're at that speed down to 2500.
Yep, point 4 heavy, reduce speed to 180.
BlackBox.
All right. Hey, thanks for being with us today. On our podcast today, we have a friend of mine going back a number of years. I think I got introduced to you, Jay, by my son, Isaiah.
You did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with us today, Jay Young, artist extraordinaire, up-and-coming artist in the community here in Virginia Beach. And we're going to have a conversation with Jay today about his craft and just about his walk, his life, and what he's experienced and what he's gone through as a young man on this planet, which is effing crazy half the time, right?
Yes,
but you just
very crazy.
Enjoy the ride.
I do.
So, hey, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
As with all our podcasts, I want to start out by giving a toast and a shout out to our nation's military. Here in Virginia Beach, we have a massive community of those in the Special Forces community, Jay,
Absolutely.
as you know, and you get a few of those to come out to Be in the Biscuit out in Pungo.
They do. They know how to party.
Yeah. Shout out to Be in the Biscuit. It's a great family. Their
Family-owned restaurant. Yes.
A SEAL. So, awesome group of people there. So, Jay also, his side hustle is bartending. Your passion is art, but you're a little bit of a mixologist. So,
Yes.
we like to keep it simple, Jay. Little Blue Label, it's my favorite spirit, we'll say, from the Scots. Is that a good accent, Zach? Can you do like a voiceover for me as a Scottish? And I got that sounds like English. Like I'm a little drunk.
Russell Brand.
Russell, yeah.
Russell off-brand.
Yeah.
Russell off-brand, yeah. Sorry. But a toast to our nation's military. Thank you for your service. Blue Label thanks you for your service. And if they don't, they will soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
And you don't have to. Oh, I forgot. We always have to do that. Man, I didn't even get a chance to drink mine. How are you old enough to drink?
I'm very old enough to drink.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So here we go.
25.
I like to sip mine along.
Sip
Wait,
it.
you want some more?
I'm good. Thank you, though.
What?
It was delicious.
Johnny Walker's a little upset. You said no, but responsible spirits at 9 a.m. on a Friday morning.
Yeah.
So, hey, really seriously glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
It's going to be fun today, and Jay brought along some of his art, which is going to be cool to talk about. And you're talking to like the least artful person on the planet.
Yeah.
I'm really good in the art of finance.
Yeah.
And my day job. But when it comes to like painting, I can't even stay within the lines. And
Yeah.
yesterday, as a matter of fact, we're revamping our website on my corporate side. And so we have this graph that we're working on called the KP 121 rule, which talks about actuarial science and investments and how those come together.
Yeah.
And trying to bring together this visual piece of these stages of life that we go through and the decisions that we need to make along the way. And from like 0 to 21, people are making these decisions vicariously through their parents usually or grandparents. So you can probably appreciate that, Jay, that, in those early years, your mom and dad, your grandfather,
Yes.
those folks had a massive influence in your life, I'm sure.
They did. Definitely my dad's work ethic, and my mom has a good heart, too. And just rebelling a little, though, when I was younger. But
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. We'll give you a chance to.
but I'm thankful, yes.
to confess.
I was raised right.
And your mom and dad will listen to this and go, oh,
Yeah.
he does have a heart still.
I was looking at baby photos with her the other day, and because my girlfriend
What a
wanted
good
to see
son.
them. Yeah, and it was I started like tearing up, and she's like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "I don't know. Thank you for raising me right."
She's like, stop the shit.
Yeah,
You don't
but
cry.
it was weird because I haven't like felt that. I've always been me. Working, doing this, and then when you take that time to, especially with a vulnerable heart, you take it more genuinely.
Yeah.
But it's not something you want to do like every weekend.
Yeah.
But it's definitely resets like what kind of life you want to have.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's this, bringing it back to art for a second.
Yeah.
This graph we're working on, I tried to draw some little icons that I had in my mind's eye of what would be on this graph. And, we quickly saw the team was making fun of me because it didn't look like anything other than a 2-year-old with a box of crayons, which as a prior Marine, crayons,
Yeah.
we're used to eating those
them.
things, not using them. So what are you laughing at, Noah? You're in the Army. It means you're not ready to be a Marine yet. So, no, love all the military. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Great guys, but Marines.
they know how to party
Tip-
more.
tip of the spear. Yeah. My son Isaiah would probably take issue with that. but
I'm
that's
so
all
proud of that guy. He's a good kid.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's out there getting it.
Yeah.
So he's getting his
Tatted
butt
up too.
Yeah,
Getting
tatted up. Got some art on him, and I think you may have had a little bit of influence on that.
I got
Thanks,
him.
RJ.
Yeah. But at least he understands the importance of tradition. Like now he's more into the traditional side of tattooing, which is based around tradition and respect.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I've got a tat here for my family.
Mhm. That's
and
beautiful,
Got an old one here on my arm when I
Yeah.
was a jarhead. But all my buddies were getting devil dog tattoos and the bulldog
So
and
sick, yeah.
USMC
Yeah.
and
Well,
one shot, one kill.
yeah.
And I just got a Superman tattoo. Like
I mean,
that
that's
was my
cool, yeah.
childhood
Yeah.
hero was Superman.
Yeah. You could break it down like that. I think when you have limited tattoos like that looks good. But like, there are a lot of people who want to like be like, I want a whole Superman sleeve, and it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, like do what you want to do. I guess like that's your
A
expression.
Superman's like a blue sleeve on
Whatever
it.
that would look like.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a bunch of different Superman tattoos. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people should look more into like tradition, like Japanese or American traditional. And you'll
Is
start
Japanese, is that like the Sailor Jerry?
No, Sailor Jerry is more American traditional.
That blue label's
Yeah.
getting to you already, isn't it?
But he's a pioneer for bringing it over to the West, and a lot of other guys, but
Sailor Jerry.
and some others, Bergrim, some others. I'm not too deep into the history of it, but I do know the American traditional side of like.
Yeah.
I remember when I first started getting tattooed, it was a me thing. It was like, oh, I want this little Picasso sketch. Oh, I want this because this is an expression of myself. You're 17, you're 19, you're 20. You don't know shit. Like so when there's a platform that's been ages because remember tribal.
Yeah.
That's a me thing. That's a true like because you're part of
Yeah.
the trend. And then you get these things like, wow, Hanya masks and skulls with daggers through them. Those have been around forever. Like,
Yeah.
you look at I always like at work, I would always see like a old Vietnam hat guy, and like they have like a eagle holding a skull, and it's all faded, but the carbon in it is held, and they're like 86, and I'm like their grandson is worried about the Yeezys and like these like micro small blade like tattoos, and like I'm like your grandfather is a badass, like he has the coolest tattoo, especially at that time, like it was so
Yeah.
looked down on,
Yeah.
because we are getting more. Positive about tattoos and workplaces and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
you still shouldn't be an idiot. You shouldn't be all trendy, but that's just
Yeah.
my side of it.
So you're pretty tatted up there.
I am.
Can you hold your arms
Yeah.
up so they can see them from that camera
Yeah.
there? So
I got my whole back done too.
You did, really?
Yeah, I have a
we,
Grim
we
Reaper.
won't have you take.
Yeah.
This is a rated kind of cheese show.
Well, it
so
goes all the way down to my butt. It's a Grim Reaper riding a horse.
no kidding.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, most everybody here except Ian has a tat, but behind the camera over there.
It's actually cool to not have a tattoo nowadays. It's rare. So
Yeah. Well, Ian actually has a tattoo
oh, he does.
of himself, just taller.
It's all.
Yeah. I stole that from, I forget the comedian that said that. That's an old 1980s joke, but
Yeah, I get all my work done at Saltwater Tattoo as well.
Saltwater. Shout
They're
out to
good guys. Yeah,
Saltwater,
Tony
Okay.
Riccia, Mike Rickards, all those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good people.
I get mine done at Stagnant Water. Tattoos.
Stagnant Water,
Yeah. they're pretty crap. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. Sorry, fans. Yeah. So the tats that you have, that's an expression of just things that have happened through your life. Because the last time I saw you, you didn't have
As many.
Yeah.
I will confess, no. I don't think all tattoos should have a meaning to them. I think it's more of like tattoos represent power, represent like it's imagery. So you just gotta be careful what you do, I guess. Like, because if it is trendy, you will look dumb over the years unless it's a personal like tattoo. I definitely rushed into mine because my parents didn't want me to have tattoos.
Was that a dumb stage? Is that what you're saying?
I would say it was a little dumb, not because I don't regret my tattoos.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah, they're well done. But now as like I'm 25 and I'm learning about collecting and like learning more about the imagery of tattooing, I'm like, wow, like I could have had like a cooler like Grim Reaper riding like a panther or something like that. Like that's cool, you know, like, but I have Lady Guadalupe and it's still cool, but I definitely, my friends, it's that tattoo fever, that addiction, that rebellion kind of like feeling. Like my parents didn't want me to have tattoos, and I got 2 sleeves when I moved out, and I would wear long sleeves when I went over to my parents' house, and I finally was just like, had to show them.
Yeah, I can understand that. My father was a Baptist minister.
Yeah.
And so very authoritarian, very strict. And yeah, I definitely would say I went through a stage that if he said black, I said white.
Yeah.
And if he was saying white, I was saying black. And, you know, then it wasn't so much tattoos. I think I was still one of those guys that was getting a tattoo when they weren't popular, when it wasn't
Looked down
okay. And there's a trend moving back now, especially in the military, like in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah wanted to enlist in the Marine Corps. He wanted to go through one of the MARSOC program, and that was a goal that he had. But as he started stepping into that, he found out that one of his tats was too far down on his forearm.
Yeah.
And, you know, they do this little measurement, and they disqualified him, and there was no waiver. There was no getting around that. So that kind of comes back to one of those things in life where we were talking in our so-called green room, the lunch room, the other room out there, that, you know, there's these decisions that we make in life. There's these choices we have, and sometimes those choices have consequences, both good and bad, and the consequence of that tat for him left him with having to choose a different journey.
Absolutely.
But what's cool about that is, you know, God has a plan that's large, and He's in charge. And what's cool is that really gave him the opportunity to expand his horizon and expand his territory into looking at other options that he hadn't really considered. He thought about the Marine Corps because his dad was a Marine.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times young people, and even I, did things based on what my parents taught me in many ways, or rebelled in a way because my parents did it a certain way without really just getting centered and comfortable with who I am, where I am in that moment.
I think a lot of people too, like our age, they get scared or anxious for the future. And say you meet a girl, or, you know, and like you're just growing up, you know, like you're just going through the thing, and you kind of look towards the people who have been there for you. And like, I remember when I was 19, 20, around there, and like I was going to TCC, I was trying to figure out my life.
So TCC is Tidewater Community
College, yes. Great community college.
Country club.
Yeah, country club, yeah. Definitely was not ready mentally to go back to school and figure it out. Luckily I had a scholarship, so I could just figure it out through that. But I ended up dropping out, and I remember only asking the people I knew. I think I even asked you at one point, like just like, because everyone's set in their life. Everyone's like, oh, you go out to like a bar and like, yeah, I just got this job making $60,000, and like everyone's growing up and you're comparing yourself, and like sometimes you'll look to the more familiar faces for advice. So like whether that be the Marine Corps, any military branch or anything like that.
I'm afraid to ask, what did I say to you? Do you remember?
Isaiah joining the Marine Corps, or wanting to join the Marine Corps.
No, when you said that you'd asked me about.
You
got some advice from me. I'm like, all right.
You're
like, oh God, where's my drum roll? Yeah. You're like, what did you say? Yeah. So drop some Kenny wisdom on us. Do you remember what I said to you?
I remember telling you like I was working really hard, and I knew Connor Parker and you were working like in finance, and Isaiah always talked about, and I was getting really into like, because I was broke. Like I remember I was 21, I was bussing tables at the Bee and Biscuit because I wanted to bartend.
Yeah.
And I remember,
but you're still there.
I'm still there.
There's something.
Yeah, there's something. Oh my gosh!
Cheers to you for sticking it out.
Yeah. Well, that shows what happens when you're loyal. And my owners too, they're just good people. Like in the restaurant industry, it's very hard to find good bosses because dealing with money, like because a
Joe
restaurant
and
is a
Karen live
business.
in my neighborhood.
Yeah, they're awesome,
That's
man.
Very,
Yeah.
very kind people.
Very kind people, and their wisdom. Like Joe is phenomenal with his wealth and finances, and just so humble and so generous too at the same time.
Maybe
And
we should have Joe on the show.
absolutely,
Wouldn't it be cool?
I would. Yeah,
Such a nice man. He and
such a
Karen
good
just-
person.
Yeah, I knew him for a small season. We went to church at this little small church plant together for a
Yeah.
little while, and just a cool heart,
Yeah.
awesome dude.
They have those Hawaii vibes.
The
Yeah,
Hawaii
yeah.
vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just good people, man. And he just, it's weird because before I started working there, I was all over the place. I was at TCC. I was working at Michael's. I was very emotional, but I didn't have an order to my emotion, and which I'll talk about more about with my work. That's part of the process. And I remember having $800 to my name. I was gonna just blow it all and just join the military, and just like, which is not like a reason to join. It was like I was so low at my life. I wanted to do something greater than myself.
Yeah.
And give back. And I was very selfish, and it's hard to balance that, and when you're passionate about stuff. And I remember just only having $800 to my name, and I started working there. And I remember just working there for like, I was living at home. I lied to my parents that I was going to school. I dropped out, and I got a studio, and I just started figuring it out. And I remember saving up like $6,000, and I was like, whoa, this feels good. And then I remember I got up to $20,000, but the thing was, I was just holding, and I didn't know what to do. And I think that's when I came out. I was like, asked you, and you're like, you're doing the right thing. Just keep working hard. I think I was like 23, even Connor, and like, but it was one of those things. Like, as I've gotten older, I've been more interested in finances, not because money is reward. It is a reward. That's what we work towards. We want to do nice things and give. Like, the best thing you do with your money is give. Yeah. And I want freedom. That's the big, like, when you realize it's freedom to be able to do what you want to do. Like, I think it would be beautiful, like, to have, like,
money's a consequence of behavior.
It is.
So it can be a good consequence or it can be a bad consequence. And so what I'm hearing from you, what it sounds like to me, is that you didn't have this direct vision of what you wanted your money to do in terms of this thing that you've probably heard about with compounding and having your money work hard for you versus you working hard for your money. But money in a lot of ways shows up the character of who we are, both on the receiving end and on the giving end. We had an interview with a client of mine a few episodes ago who was a Naval Academy graduate. And one of the cool things I remember him talking about was it was never about the money. It was about this passion and drive that he had. And he set up this business to what he thought was going to be a music publishing business. And it turned into something that if you would have asked him back in the Naval Academy, was he going to have this massive government contracting firm and then have two massive charities that he has self-funded and put on the map? That's beautiful. And I serve on one of those boards.
Yeah.
But it was purpose-driven in a way before the purpose had been molded.
Yeah.
The purpose was still on the canvas. Mm-hmm. And well, I'll ask you this: when you're getting ready to paint, or when you're getting ready to craft one of your pieces, and you've got this blank canvas, do you sometimes just start putting color on a canvas?
Yes, I would. My process is a little differently, but that concept of like the blank page, or like, writer's block, or like a blank canvas, I don't think you should be scared. It's literally just like throw something on and you'll see something. But again, it depends on what you're doing. Like how I set it up now is I definitely I work around the figure, and I'll map that out, and then that feeling of like putting the color within the figure.
Yeah.
So if you're not you won't ever know if you don't do. So it's that concept.
Yeah.
It's you can and also don't take yourself so seriously. Just express, because what you're saying with your friend is people change. Your mind is always changing. The art I was creating when I was in 9th grade, I thought it was the shit. I remember just creating little Jimi Hendrix portraits and little mushrooms and psychedelic little art, and like
were
a
you,
cute.
were you tripping on shrooms back then? Is that what
I was dabbling with drugs, but I remember, but like it wasn't the right way. Which I mean, I know like with drugs and all that, but it definitely like it was trendy, you know, like kind of like the '60s, like oh the Doors, like this that, and they had beautiful messages, but some people get trapped in that hole of like abuse.
Yeah.
All like yes, all is one, but like you can't just like the doctrines a lot and those things aren't well thought out sometimes at a young age, and you're just kind of you're young and dumb. And I remember just like creating these like images, and I was like a quiet little ninth grader. I was trying to figure out my place in the high school system, and like these cute like senior girls would be like, oh I love that, and I'm like oh you can have it, and they put it on their binder, and then like dudes would be like, can I get one? I'm like, yeah, $20. And like, that's when I started like, wow, you could like do something with this. And, but I remember just being so emotional and so about my ego and so about like, this is it. Like I'm gonna, and like, you never know, like, you know, so you always, if you're just vulnerable and genuine and self-aware and smart and not delusional, like you grow. And like I paint these faces, I do these things, but I know as I get older, like when I'm 30, my body work might be abstract paintings, or I might have like just paint Grim Reapers, or like you just learn as you grow, but you got to be vulnerable and aware of that change.
So it's funny you say that, Jade. Zach and I were talking on an episode, I think it was our initial episode, where we were just sharing, you know, the folks that we want to talk to, like yourself. And Zach had asked me a question about kind of my life's journey. Yeah. And, you know, I think for most of us, life's journey sometimes just starts as a blank canvas. How many people grow up knowing what they want to do? And those who tell you that they absolutely know what they want to do, I think most of the time are full of shite. But what I found is that, like, as I was growing up, I didn't set this life's purpose to be a U.S. Marine. There was military all throughout my family, and I had massive respect for those who had served, and they always seemed to be just that character in them was just a little different, a little more kind of a cut above the rest.
Yes.
And so I respected that. But you know, for me, I thought I was going to be this massive football star, and that, you know, I had this image of myself of, Zach, you can do that from over there now.
I didn't do anything.
You didn't do that?
I don't know where that came from.
Oh, that was the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Really? That was the spirit of Trump talking to us. Nobody can do that. Like,
That wasn't even in the show, so people are not going to know.
they're not going to. So is it played over here? Man, you're going to have to put it back in now.
Oh well.
Literally, folks, what just happened there was Donald Trump interrupted our podcast. And he said, no one can do it like me, as I was talking about my illustrious football
The football
career.
dream.
Yeah, the football dream. So thanks for interrupting us, President Trump. You're great at that. But we still like you. That's all right. We love you. That just totally took me off my game.
Football.
Yeah, I was you know, trying to relay this back to your story, and your expression of, you know, your life's journey. I can relate to that because I went through this phase of where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I had this opportunity to play some football, and even had an opportunity to do it at a collegiate level, and then quickly found that, oh, these dudes are bigger, stronger, faster, and I'm not prepared for this. And so my state of mind wasn't there, and I quit.
Yeah.
I quit, which is, the Q word can be haunting and daunting to stay in it, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that balance. So, you know, for me, and no, I'm losing stuff in my ears there. For me, what ended up happening was I gave up on that dream, and I'm now like, okay, the canvas, crap, who am I now?
It went from landscape to portrait.
Landscape, all right.
Yeah.
It twisted on me. It's still deaf in my left ear here. So what ended up taking place from there was in this moment of unknown, a friend from high school came into my life, and I have now no sound in my ears now.
Yeah, me either.
You're gone too?
Yeah, I'm gone too.
Zach, do we still have voice over there? Okay. So what ended up happening was, okay, we're gonna take a timeout. We're gonna come back. We've got some audio issues and maybe some video issues, so we're gonna stand by here. Okay, we're back, right? Are we live, guys? Zach, are we audio's on?
Yep.
All right. So sorry for that. Mid-sentence, President Donald Trump came in with an audio file that just corrupted everything here that was going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not your fault, President Trump, but we might as well blame you. Everybody else blames you for everything, so we'll blame you for what just happened here. So going at it, being political this morning, going for it. So we were having this conversation about just the canvas, the blank canvas, and I was sharing with you a little bit of the story. I was conversing with Zach in an early episode. I had this massive opportunity in my mind's eye that I was going to be this great football star. That went away.
Yeah.
And then I was flailing around trying to figure out who I was and my identity. And long story short, I ended up being a U.S. Marine, and that was the best thing that ever happened in my life because it gave me the mindset of knowing that whatever I put my mind to, whatever I stay consistent with, and keep driving forward for whatever goal I have in front of me, as long as I don't quit. What I perceive and what I believe will happen will actually transpire. Now, like with art, I'm sure sometimes when you start and what you visualized in your head might be slightly different because along the way you get different inspiration, I would say, for how something looks in your life.
Absolutely.
And I'll share the second half of this really quick with you. You said something that reminded me of a moment in my life where I had just some massive failure. So things were going my way for a number of years. Things were great. I had this great financial company. Then I sold it. I didn't really want to deal with my business partners anymore.
Yeah.
And kind of went off on my own scene and got off into another industry that was completely out of my wheelhouse of finance. And I thought, well, I'm a smart guy. I'm a Marine. I can do anything I put my mind to. But there were some outside circumstances that I couldn't control. So the things that we need to focus on in life are those things we can control. Everything else is just noise.
Noise, yeah.
So for me, what ended up happening is something took place that I couldn't control. And some of it I could. Some of it was my poor choices, poor behavior. And I had a consequence of that. So fast forward to losing it all. And I even hate using that term because losing it all is such a selfish, inward, introspective thought that's very offensive to my wife and my 5 children. They were still with me.
Yeah.
Right? But I was very selfish and introspective of going, man, I've lost it all. All my material goods were gone. And I ended up having to live with my mother-in-law and father-in-law, who are great people, amazing. Love you, Mark and Paula. And living with them for a year to get my head screwed back on straight and pretty much figure out that, there's still a lot of life in front of me.
How old were you?
I was in, 50 now. I was 38.
That's important for people to listen to.
Yeah, in my 30s. Had massive success up until that point.
Yeah.
And then the wheels fell off the bus. And one episode, one day, I'll talk about how that happened.
Yeah.
But what I remember, Jay, is every morning I would walk out on this 210-foot dock that my father-in-law built for my 50-foot yacht to park there. I didn't have that yacht anymore. It was gone. So that identity was, and I would walk out there every morning and pout about that not being there. I'd walk out with this cup of coffee, walk out on the end of this dock, and I would sit down on the dock, almost sometimes wishing I would fall over and suck water, And for me, what came back to my mind one morning was God put this fish in the river, and this fish jumped up out of the water and went back in. And my son-in-law has been down there. He loves the fish. He's seen some of these fish. I don't even know what kind of fish it was. It doesn't matter. What matters is this fish jumped out of the water, big old fish, jumps out of the water, goes back in. And I'm sitting there with my cup of coffee. And it took me back to 2 years before that incident of that fish jumping, was a guy said to me who was in my life for literally maybe 48 hours, but had spoke some words of wisdom into my life. And he said, KP, you just need to go fishing. And I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Quit trying to be sensei to me. I'm sad right now. I've lost my wealth and things have just collapsed around me. And he goes, yeah, I know that, but you just need to go fishing. And I'm like, okay. What I learned that day was there were fish jumping all around me. I wasn't prepared to catch fish. I was prepared to whine and pout and cry about my misery of past and, the kind of the who moved my cheese. But every morning, Jay, I'd get up and I'd grab a cup of coffee that my in-laws was providing for me, providing shelter, providing opportunity, providing something for me to better myself.
Yeah.
And in their garage, I'd walk past a line of fishing poles. And I would walk down to this deck and sit on the end of this deck, being introspective, AKA at that point, feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And then it hit me. Oh, when I come out on this deck and that fish jumps, there is an opportunity in front of me. There is resource in front of me. All I have to do is reach out and grab it. And so one of the things in that story and what you said to me a few minutes ago was taking me back to that moment that you've had some of these failures in your life, but you haven't let them define you.
Yeah.
Whether it be with drugs or with alcohol or with poor decision making. Mm-hmm. What you've done is you've gotten really clear and becoming clearer on who you are and your talent and what you bring to this world. One of those is your art. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to spend some time today on this podcast just really sharing with people and helping, for lack of a better term, promote your art, to share it with the world, to say, hey, you bring something really cool. You bring the J. Young signature to this craft and to this art craft. So tell me where it started for you. Where did art for you really just start to, you go, man, I'm actually good at this?
I think, I don't know good, but I definitely had a spark in drawing when I was probably like 8 or 9. And my grandfather would, before dinner, we had this room called the dolphin room. It was like where the computer was and all this stuff, and I had a bunch of dolphin stuff in there. And I would just draw with him, and we'd have like 10 pieces of paper everywhere, and we'd just be doodling. And what he would do is like spend a minute on this and then go to the next piece of paper and draw something on that.
So your grandfather was an artist?
In a way, yes. He was more, he didn't take it seriously. I don't think he has any work to show me either, but he definitely was illustrative and drew. And my dad is very like artistic in a way of like construction, contracting, like knows how to build things, home improvement stuff, which is an art. It's interior design and building, which is crazy. And,
look at like Chip and Joanne Gaines.
That's an art.
Yeah, I mean
those. It's an art. Yeah. And that's what I really want to talk about too. Is like, yes, my art form is painting, but creativity comes in so many different ways. So I guess the term like with art, like yes, I was drawing, but I was always.
You're giving me some hope today. Video podcast is an art, right?
It is an art, and it's anything expressive, And as you said, it takes time to brand and style, and because your expressions are just expressions and they change all the time. So when you can capture them and market them and brand it, that's when the momentum starts going.
So I think you were telling me last year or maybe before the coronavirus, everybody uses the coronavirus as an excuse now, or as a mark, an indelible mark in 2020.
Yeah.
And then what we did before that and what we're doing now. But before coronavirus, you went down to Miami
Yeah.
to a art show.
Yeah. Art fair, Art Basil. Yeah. It's
Basil, is that what it's called? Basil?
I think
or
it's
Basil?
Art Basil or Basil. I've never. It was cool. Definitely the market. There's so many different markets with art. But it's definitely a big one in the staple. But it's known for the party scene.
So tell me about Miami.
It was fun. It was it was fun. It definitely woke my heart up to like what I don't want. You know. So
what was the weirdest thing you saw? At this
how
festival?
people behaved for money and fame, and
Really?
like there's this famous quote, like Jim Carrey is like on some other level now with his mind. So is Mike Tyson, but
Oh,
yeah.
hydrogen bombs. Throw
Yeah.
some hydrogen bombs on us.
He's a great guy.
He's gonna fight again. You know that?
Yeah.
right?
Have you seen his training videos?
Oh, it's
Insane. Makes me feel like a lazy asshole.
It makes me feel like a 50-year-old.
And I
Yeah.
box. Like he's like so much, but that's the sign
Yeah.
of like once you reach that level of success and hard work, he knows what it takes. So
Right.
there's no delusional part of it. Like he's been there. He knows what he has to do. and
Delusion,
he's-
yeah.
delusion. Like a lot of
Yeah.
people. Yeah, delusion is a theft and a thief, and it's hard because sometimes you're not aware of it. You need outsiders. You need
Delusion
critics.
is devilish.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Because you can
From
be
the
so
enemy.
comfortable with the reality you're faced with. Like, I know, like, for instance, the bar industry around here, there are people who are, like, 35, and they're cool within that community, you know, of, like,
Yeah.
being drunk, going for the younger girls, blah, blah, blah. And that's their identity. That's their reality. They want to, it's delusion. They think they made it. And, like, you're not putting in the authentic, genuine hard work, the sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's delusional.
So down in Miami, you
Yeah.
were talking about these people who have this delusion or the clout. Is
The
that- I
clout.
think it was-
I mean, like it. You kind of have to in like the art market, I guess, or just fashion and trends or like hype culture or anything like that. It definitely comes and goes. Like I definitely got ahead of myself. You know, when I started getting more followers or like I was sharing stuff with these pages or anything like that. It can definitely like if a single man at a young age or like. There's things it can get really
single man in Miami
Yeah, it's
at an art festival.
Art
I guess
festival.
it's a little
yeah, you can get too ahead of yourself. But I went with a genuine heart.
debauchery comes to
Yeah.
mind. You know, like, yeah.
I went with a genuine heart and like my friend, and it was crazy because I mean there was a lot of partying, a lot of like riches, a lot of this, but there were a lot of genuine people there. And the cool thing about partying there and just networking, quote unquote, is when you're around people with power that have the same heart as you, it's fun because you're not trying to get anything out of them. You're just
Yeah.
being like, hey man, like I'm just more interested. Like I don't want you to give me money. I don't want anything. I just want to know your story. Because I observe. So it's like if I'm not getting the way I want to be, I'm gonna go look at people who I want to be and see how they did it. Like my favorite thing with art was watching interviews and dissecting like artists' process, work studies. Like if I wanted to become a famous painter that's like representational and like paints in Italy, I would go intern under someone and learn how their method, their process. You can even get more abstract, and I could go work with a printmaker, even though I'm an oil painter. But just
Yeah.
like catch those vibes, his energy, his work methods, and apply that to mine.
So you do this out of passion, and
Passion,
I know you personally, and I
Yeah.
know it's about passion. It's not about padding your wallet, but you
Yeah.
do need to make a living.
You do need to make a living.
Two things in life that we need, and we talk about this on KP's BlackBox. Man, I did pretty good with my voice there, right, Zach? I'm proud of myself with that
Got a patent.
sexy DJ voice. Getting better at that. Two things that are important in life: oxygen and money. Right? Live a day without either one of those. Let me know how it works out for you. And I've been looking for people to interview that could live a day without oxygen or live a day without money,
Yeah.
without resource. And money, we think of, dollar bills and Benjamins or yuan or the pound, but the resource of the community of where you live and what you bring into that community. And you bring this art. And so you trade your time, your vision, you put it on this canvas. You brought a couple pieces with you today, right? Mm-hmm. You want to grab a couple of those while I'm talking to you here. So when you started doing this, and let me bring my mic over a little bit, and we'll try to hold this up. How's that in the camera, guys? Good there. Tell us about this chick, man. She got a lot going on.
Yeah. I think so. When I first started painting, I was really representational. Well, tried to, and like I remember asking my buddy who taught me how to paint, Alex Venezia, phenomenal artist. I remember just being like, "What's a skin tone? Like, how do you make a skin?" And he's like, "Skin tones are multiple different colors." And then as I've gotten more into art history and culture and who I like and who influences me, I was moving towards the more like expressive side, the abstract side, but I was still obsessed with the figure. And so my thing is like, I don't have a special person I paint because that would be portrait. That would be I'm trying to capture someone. Yeah, it's more like I'm trying to capture a feeling within the framework of a figure.
She has a really pretty eye.
Yeah, so that's my staple. Is like I like to just paint one eye because as weird as you want to be and fun and expressive.
Are you in the Illuminati?
No,
is that
it's not part of it. No,
Jay-Z. Hey, Jay Young, Jay-Z, Illuminati. Now I'm catching on.
Hillary Clinton.
Oh,
no, I just do the eyeball because
Epstein didn't kill himself.
He didn't kill himself. It definitely just gives you a more hones it in, as expressive and fun it is. So I'm expressing myself, but with the eye and the framework I capture that expression.
How long ago did you do this piece?
I did that piece in December, and it took me like 3-4 days, which there's no time limit on a piece.
And this type of art is called?
Oil painting, but this is a figurative painting.
A figurative.
Okay. I've had people say surreal, expressive, but it definitely isn't representational. Yeah.
My art, yours is really cool, and yours is thoughtful, put together. But when I draw, I kind of look like this.
Yeah.
Bottom half. There's nothing. But
nothing.
It actually works in this piece here.
Yeah.
And so when you started, when you put this together, so this is not a specific
person.
This has a feminine.
It does. I do paint a lot of feminine figures. It's just something I was kind of just drawn to at a young age.
Is this a specific person in your life?
No. I do all my imagery from like Pinterest, and like I'll type in like beauty shots, and I just map out the face. I've even experimented lately on like paper of just like putting down marks and then like within those marks building a face with no reference. But it's not anyone specific. It's not supposed to be, oh, this is this person, oh, this like girl in my life or anything like that. It's just a framework where I can express myself within it, like my brand. Because I'm obsessed with the figure, manipulating flesh. My influences are very abstract painters.
Yeah, I don't know if it really shows through on the camera, but the eye, I'm serious. The eye shot there has a lot of depth. Mm-hmm. You can feel
it's wonky looking. I just like to.
I feel some passion in that person. So that's really, really cool. It's really deep. There's some deep layers in that if you just stare at it long enough. Are you doing any psychedelics when you're doing this?
No.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
You're completely clean on this, huh?
Clean on that. Yeah. I don't get
the
high.
police is not here.
I definitely think we should be more of like a medical kind of just like late night kind of thing, deload, whatever your stance is on it. But me personally, I tried doing that when I was younger, and I get more done when I'm sober minded.
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
Yeah, clear minded, focused. I don't need drugs to like. And like Salvador Dali, like the most surreal, weird guy. Everyone thought he did drugs, and he's like, "I don't do drugs. I am drugs."
Here, I'm getting weak and tired. I don't want to drop your. That's beautiful, though, dude.
Thank you.
So, it took you 4 days to put that together. Oh wow, this is her sister. This is really cool. Let me spin it. All right. So, how's that for the shot, guys? Wow.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, I'm going to put you on the spot, man.
Yeah, put me on.
You've got some in inventory right now?
I do. Some of them, like this one, I might be putting in a show. I have a couple collectors looking at it, and that blue one, I have a guy I'm doing a trade with. But how I do have some in inventory, and will create more.
Will you do me a favor?
Yes.
Will you leave some here for me, and we'll let people know?
Yeah.
And you can rotate them out if you want to.
For sure. Yeah.
And then I'll
paint so what I do too is I'll paint the edges black and frame them, wire them.
Yeah.
So they're presented well.
Very cool. The other one's cool. I'm kind of drawn. I like.
This is
one
cleaner.
version.
It's more centered, and also it's bigger. Like when it's
Yeah.
bigger, it just looks always better.
Yeah. Is your style to always do a
face?
A face?
In a way, yes, but I'm this upcoming like fall and winter when it deloads a little bit with work.
Yeah.
I definitely want to branch out and try some other stuff. So I'm really into vintage. So I'll be doing a lot of like Vogue portraits, Playboys, 80s spring break vibe kind of stuff. I want to do a show with that, but like still with the figurative kind of fun stuff.
Has anyone commissioned you to do anything for them?
I've had a couple people commission me. One of my friends, Mike Anderson, I did a commission for him for his wife and him when they got married. It was the concept as a writer, never like if a writer falls in love with you, you never die. So the concept was welcome to eternity that he thought of. And I did like a little surreal kind. It was fun. It put me out of my place. And then another thing he put me onto was I paint denim jackets. And I didn't know that would be
Paint on denim
jackets. Yes. Oh. So that pushed me out of my comfort zone too, which people, when it comes to collecting art, like say I sold this for $2,000 for someone, that's an investment on my name, my craft, whether they like it or not. Some people collect art just for selfish gain, which is, whatever.
Yeah, let's set that down. I'll let you relax. But that's gorgeous. Very cool. So you were telling me you paint on denim.
I do, yes. So painting on denim, which you can check out at Young Art on Instagram. I'll do a lot of like.
We'll put that on our site. Tell us what the site is.
So my site is jyoungart.com, but it's currently down right now.
All right, you got to slow that down for me.
jyoungart.
jyoungart.com.
But that one, my website is down right now. I'm revamping it. But everything that you'd see on there is on my Instagram. My Instagram is branded in a way like when you click it, it's online portfolio gallery.
Nice. And your Instagram handle or tag? Or?
At jyoungart.
At jyoungart. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. So
check them out. We'll put it on the our website for you too.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Let people check it out. Now, if they want to buy,
DM or email. I keep it pretty simple. For certain reasons, but with art, you kind of have to. It's a weird game because the moment you put your prices out or say something's in demand, I kind of like will do a bid. Like I've I'll post a piece and people will DM or email and be like, "How much is this?" And I'll say a price. Like, and if they take the bait, they take the bait. You gotta keep it at a certain level. You don't want to overextend. But the moment you kind of like say too much on these bigger pieces, that's when you kind of cap yourself because it's gambling. It's who is this artist going to be in 10 years? Who did they study? So you got to keep it mysterious. But doing denim jackets and little things, it's quick sales.
We were talking about that earlier, and like one of my favorite pieces that I own personally is my Stingray back over there. I've had that for years. And the glass blower who made that is an Italian guy. He passed away. And, I paid a couple $1,000 for that down in Key West, Florida.
Yeah.
A number of years ago, and I've only found like 3 of them in existence, and there may be more. I don't know, but what I've seen that price do is the last time I looked, it was up around $30,000. Now, don't anybody trying to come in my office and Noah's over there like, oh, okay, Facebook community marketplace, but. Yeah, I mean, I love that because for me, it's priceless. Yeah. Because it again is at a point in time in our life, and the same weekend I get this family tat with my wife and I. We bought that piece, so they kind of go together for me. Yeah, and it's a personal story it's a heart thing, and I think that's what art is for a lot of people. Those pieces will inspire a person based on their personal experience. Yeah.
it's collecting.
Yeah.
And when people come in here, you get to say like it's when you collect art, like yes, you want to look at the return sometimes if you're into investing on it, but like at the end of the day, you don't need a curator, you don't need an interior designer to help you. Like if something's drawn to you, collect it. Like it's cool to have friends come over.
Thanks for telling me that, because you know what, I have this shoe fetish.
Yeah.
And like Nike, Ian and I, every once in a while we'll go on sneakers on the app, and man, you talk about people going crazy over shoes. All you got to do is go on that sneakers app that Nike makes, and if you're not like first in line, you're not getting it. Jordans to just KDs or whatever, but I've got an attic full of sneakers. My wife is ready to.
But there's a market for it. Like there, and
I don't even care about them.
Yeah,
I do, but I don't.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the younger generation of these artists. Like they're sleeping on them. They cap themselves. Like while I'm doing faces and I'm building my brand and selling, and like I could flip these for like $400, But what's my return? I'd rather work, do other things while I'm building this and hyping that up and make it more exclusive, and it's just a compounding time thing. And sneakers, like if you're into that fashion world and you're designing your own clothes, you could have like a little Depop thing selling sneakers and funding these things. And because there are people, like you, that are into sneakers. There are people with a lot of money who are into art, and people. I
actually have a client who's a special warfare boat team guy, and he's the one that really kind of turned me on at first. I was kind of buying them here and there. And he's like, man, there's an absolute community. And he showed me some of his inventory, and I'm like, dude, I like that. Yeah. Those are cool. Yeah. And I just wanted to buy some just to have them. So do you like collect other people's art?
I do, yes. Yeah. I keep it pretty low. I don't try to go over $1,000.
Yeah.
But I do collect. I'm obviously into tattoo culture, so I do like to collect a lot of like tattoo flash from friends and other people I follow on Instagram.
But is your canvas your body?
Canvas is my body, in a way. But I
look
collections. Now I'm getting more into collecting. But no, I collect like other like just works on paper and stuff.
Oh,
paintings.
Right.
Yeah, because they do.
I was going like you're running out of canvas there.
Yeah. No, I'm obsessed with like, so the paintings I do, that's like my thing. But I'm also really into like other art, and I'm really into like Chicano style stuff or like tattoo style stuff, or just gritty lowbrow kind of like grungy 90s kind of stuff, and like vintage Playboy stuff. Like it's just my aesthetic or how I want to design my
Playboy, like boobies. Is the beauty of boobies is over here.
Beauty of boobies. All right. No, just the story of just like I don't know. It's cool, I guess.
Some of the best writers. Literally, were actually from that vintage day of Playboy.
And vintage is coming back.
They write in other journals now.
Some great artwork in those, too. Yeah. Like I have some vintage ones. But it's...
Some great artwork.
Yeah, great artwork. Yeah. But it's just cool. Like, you have a couple of vintage Playboys on your toilet or something like that. And, but tattoo culture got me really into, like, collecting. Because collecting books, like, I'm a huge art book collector. Like, I'll drop $200 on a nice book because... you get to hear their process, their journey. You have all their artwork. And like, we have a problem sometimes as like, business people or artists or dietitians, fitness gurus. You get all these resources, but you never take the time to dissect it. And these art books, like when you just sit down and like spend your time with it, you learn so much. Like you don't have to go to a college to study art. Like there's so much information out there. Like my buddy Alex, who I told you, who paints representational, he dropped out of VCU and just did workshops, read books, like learned it, The information is out there. But it's what you want to do. Yeah. Like, what do you want to do with your art? Because there's so many different...
How's he doing?
He's doing phenomenal. He just had a solo show at Arcadia Gallery, which is a big gallery out in LA. He's working with this guy, Michael Klein, and they're based out of Raleigh, which is cool because everyone, especially like hype culture stuff, he's more representational, fine art, beautiful work, can paint like John Singer Sargent style, and but they live in Raleigh, and it's so funny because like now, like back in the
Raleigh
day,
is not like this. You would think of this.
It's creative. It's a small community, but it's crazy with the power of social media, galleries, collectors. You can live in those kind of like I want to live in Virginia Beach. You know,
Yeah.
I want to build my base around because I love Virginia
Yeah.
Beach. But you don't have to
Something's in
move
the water here.
Yeah, something's in the
Corrosive.
water. And a lot of people feel like they have to go chase it, like New York or LA or whatever. And that's cool. You know, like depends on what you are. You know, I'm a painter. I'm not a musician, so it's a little different. But I found I don't want to sacrifice my security and be delusional. Like I'm not saying you're delusional for getting after it, but for me, I'd be delusional for myself. What I like and what I like to have fun. I like to go out to eat. I like to like. So it's more fun to have that
I've seen that
balance.
happen in the past. It's always what it makes me think of is the grass is greener on the other side,
yeah.
and that happens to a lot of entrepreneurs in all communities
Mm-hmm.
that they'll start doing something in their world, and maybe business gets slow or things aren't necessarily going their way, and they'll see success in other communities, and they'll go, well, it's not me. It's my community. I need to go there. And that's actually rarely the case. It's usually the belief system, the behavior that we have, especially in the world we live in today, where technology has made the world super, super small.
Yeah.
So, just being able to get on a podcast like today and our message gets out to our audience that expands your audience.
Yeah.
Is really cool in the way that we can share.
Thank you.
We can share your entrepreneurial spirit that comes alive on a canvas, and if we can help you do well by doing good,
Yeah.
of sharing your information,
Yeah.
that's
I want to
That's a
help.
good day.
Yeah, and there's just such a like. There's something so beautiful about Virginia Beach. One, the collective side of like collecting art, but there's so many businesses here that are like trades and real estate and that need. Like, I'm not saying a lot of those people in those fields aren't creative,
Yeah.
but they're lacking that. Like, people should be, like. If my passion was plumbing, imagine if I like decide at 25, I'm like, I'm gonna be a plumber. My branding, my social media, my market,
Yeah.
like you will be more tuned to succeed because those all fluctuate in this market we are now. People, you have to have that consumer mindset. Like you can't like do the 80s marketing anymore. Like people barely go down the boulevard to buy a car now. Like, like it's like Enterprise or Craigslist, and like people are doing it themselves now.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, but can be scary because if you don't want to play, it is scary.
Yeah.
But like it's just how it is, and I think a lot of businesses lack that creative side, and that's why you have like creative marketing teams and social media marketing, and like it is a job. Like it is.
So is there a tough balance for you in being a creator, an artist, and a businessman?
I'm still figuring it out. It is a little hard, but it's not as hard as I thought it would be. As I get
Do
bigger,
you get up every day or every week and you look at your financials and you go, hey, this week I need to produce 4 or 5 or 6 pieces of art because I need to bring in X
amount of money
revenue?
Yes, I do. I also believe, so like while I'm balancing bartending, making that income and creating a budget, and then, entertainment, fun, generous side too. And then I have my painting side, and I used to just think, wake up, go paint. But now it's more like when you plan it, like, okay, Monday, get my chores done, get my fitness done, do this. And then Tuesday, you have 12 hours to have a checklist of, okay, I'm going to work on these 3 paintings all lined up. You start to like, because people as artists don't want to think like that. They're like, I'm this person, I'm expressive, like blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you got to like grow up in a way. Like I know, like when you're young, it's like against the system, selling out, but it's like, grow up. Like, like you gotta, it is running a business.
Yeah,
It's hard.
It's interesting. I heard Donald Miller of Story Brand. He's a writer and helps businesses improve how they tell their story of their branding. And he has a place in Tennessee, right outside of his home, that's basically his shack that he goes to just get quiet and get with himself to where he can be creative. And some days he'll go in there and he'll spend maybe hours before that creativity starts. Other days he'll go in and man, he's just like, it's coming to him all at once.
Yeah.
But I think what you're talking about is getting to the point where you can get okay with good and meet good face on and just go, hey, I'm okay being where I'm at in this moment. And today, if I spend 12 hours in the studio and only get one stroke down, that's progress.
Yeah.
And being able to be free enough and okay with yourself to say, let the process happen. And then the other part during that week is equally important. That's processing people.
Yeah.
So you have to get in front of people on a favorable basis and share your story or share your product. And I say that to folks that I coach all the time is if you're not sharing your story, sharing your process, how's anyone going to know? You could have all the best art in the world, and if you hoard it, keep it to yourself, not share it with your community, then you're going to get what you produce.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that you're bringing that to the table, that you're really treating your art in this fine world of business and art. What I do is art, even in the financial side.
It is, yeah.
I bring my style, my art, to the world that's very diverse.
Yeah. The way you decorate your workspace, the way you
Yeah.
handle your conversations, your relationships, it's all an expression of yourself.
Right.
And you are into the arts, which plays off because there are people who are in the finance world and like they have no taste, no style, no culture, no humanities, and like.
Oh man, you tell me I've got some style.
Yeah, man, you got some style.
Okay, yeah. There are things I like, and I go with what I like.
What do you like? Yeah. That's true because you look like an idiot when you're trying to be someone you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
enjoy what you enjoy, and I think that comes back to in art you're being true to yourself. You're being the canvas speaks for what you express.
Yeah.
Right.
I
It
found
shows
my
up.
thing, and back to that process too is like how I worked, like how I got to where I was. Like I believe in adapting. Like so. I was all over the place, chaotic, expressive. And, you know, like during the summer when I was bound to have this little show at local community, I had to, like, I'm working 6 days a week. I get off at 3 or 4. I want to go out with my friends at 10 o'clock, you know, like I have this certain time. Like I also got to stay fit. I got to do responsibilities, all this stuff. So what I learned was I paint in layers. So I'll set tape around. I'll paint for like a section for 3-4 hours on multiple things.
Yeah.
Leave it be. Come back either the next day. How am I feeling? Am I forcing it? Am I thinking about, I need to finish this and post on Instagram, which you don't want to do. You want to make it, you want to wait till you're ready. It's like those little cliche, cheesy things that they're true and they're real.
They're cliche because
they're real and they're true.
Right.
They're overtold truths. And the moment you're not disciplined to those thoughts, you get too ahead of yourself. And that's a constant struggle with me. Like what you were saying with the community, I wasn't as big in my community because I thought I was bigger than myself because a lot of insecurities. Now I'm starting to have more, like, you know, I'm selling pieces in Europe and in other states and it feels good. But like, you know what really feels good is like when a friend has like, I always do like a discount for local people because I want them to have my brand. Because when I'm 35, I'm going to be a different artist in the market. And it's cool, you know? So it's like a golden ticket, not because I'm going to be something. It's because I want to be something. And I hope that whether you want to keep it or trade it
You're
in.
creating the everlasting gobstopper using the golden ticket, right?
Golden ticket, yeah.
Are you reading anything now that you'd like to share with the community? What do you dig?
I'm actually trying to get back into reading. I just ordered a book, The War of Art.
War of Art.
Yeah, Joe Rogan talks about it. It's about the concept of when you wake up in the morning and like you're like, wow, I should go drink a glass of water. I should go for a run. I should go do this. But yet you know to wake up and go to your job because you're a professional. Yeah. So when you show up to your craft, your vocation, your relationship, you got to show up as a professional and be aware. And you'll have these restrictions that are going to hold you back. But the moment you're aware of them and just create that mindset of like waking up and just you do it because you're a professional. Your mind tricks itself.
That's good.
So
and that's called what again?
The War of Art.
The War of Art.
I forgot who
that
it's
sounds
by.
like it could even apply in business. Though.
Yeah, it is a big concept of all that that does run with business. 'Cause business is an art in a way. And
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
for sure.
because you can't have art without business.
We'll put that on the site. Is it on Amazon?
It is. I think it's like $13.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a small book too. Joe Rogan would like always hand it out to people.
Yeah.
But I got that one, and then I've been just reading my art books, just like an artist like David Cho or Danny Fox, and like just read their like, life. And
Any titles to those books? 'Cause I'm not that art guy, so I don't know those.
I can't name the titles off the back, but like what I would do, like if I want a book of a certain artist, I would just type their name and then collect the book. And they have multiple books.
Get us some of those, and we'll post them on the site for you.
Definitely influential in my craft.
That's cool.
Because if you only are a byproduct of what you know and experience. Yeah. So if you don't want to go deep down that rabbit hole of your craft, you're always going to stay in that shallow end. But
so let me ask you, as we close out today, if I want to commission you to put something together for me, you can help me out with that?
Absolutely.
Can you do my wild logo out there, like with your expression of that?
I can do that, yeah.
Put an eye on it?
Yeah. Well,
the tiger's eye?
What I would do is, like, what I'm big with is if I'm going to commission for a client or anything like that, I want to know the space it's going to be in because it has to vibe with
right
the
here.
space.
We're going to put it out here for everybody to see it all the time. We'll put it somewhere over in here. Maybe we'll take down my success photo and put it around family, and we can spread that out. Yeah. And what'll be cool is we'll rotate some stuff until you get mine done.
Yeah.
And
put it up.
Yeah, I'll put it up there for you, and it'll be here. Just as long as I don't have to have this massive insurance policy to cover your priceless piece of art.
No.
But I tease you, but I know it's priceless. All your pieces, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's the hard part with art is starting. That's the hard part of business is realizing all the taxes and insurance. And
the beautiful thing about a capitalistic society is that when someone says this is the value, you can, and this is not just in capitalism, this is the world.
Yeah.
When you place a value on something and we say, hey, this piece of art here is worth $2,000, I, as the beholder, get to bid back to your ask, which is if you say 2,000, I can say, no, actually, Jay, I think your piece of art is worth 1,900.
Yeah.
And you can either respond with an alternative bid or an alternative ask to my bid. And that's the world that we live in. Everyone always takes the price as the price. And I like to think that everything in life is for sale. It's just, have we hit
the right price? Yeah.
So, I would encourage you as a businessman that look at what your time is worth to you and look at that value, encapsulate that value as a part of the time that you put in your art, price it to that, and then price goodwill on top of that. Your opportunity of what it could be. Everything has an intrinsic value, which is effectively what you and I believe to be the price.
Yeah.
And we always get down to that. People will pay for something what they view it as valuable. And what I've seen today, I view as valuable. So I'd love to have a piece in here showcasing and
absolutely
showing the community and helping you grow and helping us grow the community of Virginia Beach.
That's a beautiful thing about
another
business.
art place.
Yeah, it's like my restaurant I work at, Bean the Biscuit. Like they got their branding and marketing from just putting out authentic, genuine stuff and people sharing and reposting and them sharing and reposting, and it just builds this beautiful community.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
The food's not bad either.
The food's not bad.
It's a wait sometimes, so that's
where you see me. 2-hour wait. I'll make
come
you a
out,
mimosa,
hang out with Jay outside,
talk about art.
Yeah, put a drink. Will Joe ever let you put any of your pieces back there? Come on, Joe.
He probably would, but
Joe,
I just don't think it would fit in that environment.
Why not?
It's just, I don't know. It's brunch. I don't know. I could do like some bumblebee paintings.
There you go.
Yeah.
A bumblebee with a little mimosa.
Yeah. Something cool.
That would be awesome. Hey, dude, we like to try to keep these to an hour, so we're there, but we'd love to have you back in the future,
absolutely.
and when you have some other stuff, or bring some of your other buddies, and we'll sit around and talk about art and business.
Yeah.
And Joe would be fun.
Yeah.
Joe's a cool dude. Being the Biscuit.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having
me. Appreciate you. It's really good seeing you. I'm glad to see things are going well for you, and keep grinding, man.
Thank you.
All right. Peace out till next time.
See ya.
Love you guys. Bye.